What is up, my tricksters? Welcome back to Fun Deck Friday, where we're just playing something fun. And I'm sure that the title gave it away, but you guys know what we're here for. This deck is right up my alley, man. You guys know that I love Lightsworn, and Tearlaments are just faster Lightsworn. So I'm going to show you guys a deck that's a little bit rare for me, but is definitely something that I would totally play this and have a blast. I actually had some success with this. Well, we'll talk about it when I get to the deck profile, which will be in a minute because, as you guys are aware, we have switched it. Replay footage is at the end. You guys, we're going to do the deck profile in the middle from now on. And if you guys just want to see it do its thing, you'll have it at the end. So, without further ado, guys, Frank is going to let you guys know how you can support this channel. And I will catch you in the deck profile. So, Frank, take it away!
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to show you how to support this channel, because if you don't do it, I'm going to put a Cyber Dragon in your hardware, and it's going to bite you every time you buy something that isn't from the spring store. You hear me? Now buy a shirt with my face on it. Here's how you're going to do that. You're going to come over here. You see this little black dot? You're going to click on it. And you see this? It's going to bring you to a white page. Okay, there it goes. Then it's going to bring you to a page. You see all this stuff? This one right here is the one you want to buy, because it's got my face on it. You might also be able to support this channel by, going and clicking in the description of any video and buying a sleeve from your playmats. But they don't have to, if they don't have my face on it, I'm gonna be mad about it.
Thank you, Frank. Now let's check out that deck profile. Alright, as you guys can see, this one is massive. Now, funny enough, when I was testing a 40-card build, I was not having as much success, but when I started playing with a 60-card build, now things started to work out a little more in my favor. So we're going to talk about it. First, we got our double JD. That's really all you need. You won't need three, because believe it or not, it's actually pretty searchable, and we don't care if we mill it, to be honest, because of another card in the game. We got our one copy of Destrudo. This is just another card to help us access one of our Lightsworns from our extra deck. That's all it serves the purpose for. You could also use it as link material if you felt the need to. Shadal Beast. We actually do need this card. This is going to help thin out our deck as well. It gives us access to a floodgate thanks to the Tearlaments stuff. Double of Lightsworn Beast. Wolf the Lightsworn Beast. I know that's a horrible joke. Anyway, we do need two of this card because it's a name. It's a free special summon. One Thrasher, free special summon. That's all it's used for. And then, of course, our Tearlament Sheeran. Basically, she is Minerva fodder. She empties cards out of our hand that we need in the graveyard. She's awesome. This is the card. This card actually is the reason why we don't care if Judgment Dragon gets milled. Ironically, back in the day when you used to want Dragon Rulers and Eclipse Wyvern to do this. Well, thanks to Starly Seyfert existing, it lets us take a level 8 light or dark dragon, which Judgment Dragon is a level 8 light dragon, and add it back to our hand. So basically, this guy gets milled, and we don't care. It's a normal summon if we need it to make it for our rank 4 plays, which is relevant. But for the most part, we're going to banish this card. We're going to take one of these guys back, and that's all he's in here for. And I'm happy to have him there. Triple of the Raiden, we want the Max Mill. Then we got a little bit of a Perform Mage package in here. So we got our one Trick Clown, triple of the Damage Juggler. Remember, this card is also a bit of a hand trap. It's kind of funny because all of our hand traps are also graveyard things. This thing will search for our Hat Tricker and our Trick Clown. Basically, most of the time you're going to use it to get the Hat Tricker, so you have an extender. But it can give you the Clown. If you have like Sheeran or something, that's not too shabby there. We got the 1,000 Blades. That's right, Clown Blade is kind of back a little bit with this. Because if we take damage off this card will come back out. And that's all just, oh cool, great, more monsters to defend myself with. Awesome, helps over with our rank 4 plays. Fellas is like Wolf, but Fellas is, has to be milled by a monster effect specifically. She can come out off of Sheeran, so that's kind of neat there. That's kind of a little neat interaction. So Sheeran actually does kind of unbrick us a lot. We got a 1 electromagnetic turtle. We need as many cards to stall out if we don't quite have the board we want, and that's where this card comes into play. Harvness is another hand trap. Basically, it just lets us mill on our opponent's turn, which can give us more wolves, fellas, clowns, hat trickers, or send more of our traps to the graveyard to defend, our stuff to defend ourselves. Then we got our double Lumina. This card is the Monster Reborn for Lightsworns. You guys are probably familiar with this one. Minerva helps us mill. Miru or Miral is another monster that was like, just another free mill. Like Raiden almost. This Raiden mills us 2, she mills us 3. It's great, fantastic. 1 solar recharge, that's all we need. We play enough, we can search Lightsworns and use it, but you really don't want to play too many of this card because oftentimes you're not going to have Lightsworns in hand. So then we got our Galaxy Cyclone. This helps us get through things like Mystic Mind bullshit. Because Konami didn't have 2 brain cells to rub together. Who'd have thunk it? Then we got our Reinforcements of the Army. This card lets us search out our Thrasher, our Raidens, 1,000 Blades. I don't know why you would want 1,000 Blades, but yeah, you can get it if you want it. Who needs the grass is greener? We got Monster Gate, which can summon pretty much everything except Judgment Dragon, and then we have Reasoning. Again, everything but Judgment Dragon, and if they call it right, we don't care, because 9 times out of 10, that monster will probably give us something, so. And then we got Pot of Avarice. We play a crap ton of monsters. We play 33 monsters. This thing's going to help us put us all back, and that's hilarious, because the Tearalaments also fill the deck back up. This is a 60-card deck, which also makes this a little easier if we are up against the Runic matchup. Just FYI bonus, because when you play in 60 cards, it's a little harder for them to deck you out so easily. Upstart Goblin, even though we do mill, we do play a lot of stuff that spins things back. Upstart Goblin, then out the deck a little bit. Card Destruction, this causes all of our monsters pretty much to do something. Can put them in the graveyard for later use, or can be used to activate our Tearlament, our Shadal Beast, or like I said, can put it in the graveyard for things like Damage Juggler, or for Destrudo, things we need in the graveyard. Foolish Burial, it's just basically be an extender, because all this thing is send Wolf, or send Destrudo, or or send a Tearlament monster, make a fusion. It's all fantastic. Then we got our Charge of Light Brigade, because this is our Rhoda for Lightsworns. Basically just mill 3 cards, and most of the time the only thing that sucks about this is, if we mill a Tearlament monster, it doesn't do anything for us because it's cost. So that part does suck. But 9 times out of 10, that's okay, because we're usually going to be filling it with like Lightsworn cards, or we're going to be filling it with other things that do things in the graveyard. The other thing is, like, if sometimes you actually do want just a Tearlament just kind of sitting in the graveyard. Because there are going to be times where you won't want to fuse with something you put on the field. So, yeah, there's that. Rise to Full Height. This card pisses so many people off. I can tell, because I've had rage quitters on EDO Pro till to this day when this card goes off. People hate this card. You basically think of this card like electromagnetic turtle, and it can combo with certain cards on our extra deck. So basically, it forces the opponent to only attack the monster that this trap card designates, and if that monster isn't there, the opponent doesn't get to attack at all. It's a ruling that a lot of players forget because it doesn't happen very often, and there's a loop with it still, so you could constantly be blocking, and your opponent just never gets to hit you. Then we're playing Paleozoic Dynamiscus. Again, this helps us with Mystic Mine, and since we're also playing our own traps, funny enough, this can be this card can be link fodder, literally giving us more monsters to use to make our link plays and go for them OTKs, as well as being a monster that's unaffected by things, which actually does come up, because we can also combo it with Rise, make them hit this guy, and then they have to use a spell or trap to get rid of it, or an attack, and then they don't get to do anything else, and it's hilarious. And then we have all of our monster negation, Lost Wind, and Breakthrough Skill. Between these 2 cards, we pretty much have covered all of our bases. We have outs to the back row. We got outs to the front row. We got big swingers. We've got big board wipers. We've got it all. And JD's a big-time board wipe. And he's just, like, waiting in the wings, pretty much. He gets milled. We don't care. We'll mill a Star Liege later, and we'll get him back. And And then we got the extra deck, right? Now, all of our fusions here have something to do with the Tearalaments and less to do with Super Poly, because Super Poly is more of a side thing, and you can ignore the sideboard, really. It's all up to you. So basically, we got Dragostapelia. It's a generic fusion for the Tearalament monsters. So basically, we make one of these 3 guys, and then you get this card. Or if our opponent kills it earlier in the game, then we get a negate for free. The big one I go for is Garura, because it's a draw. So it thins out the deck, as well as puts a fusion in the graveyard for later Tearalament moves to get out that Dragostapelia, so we have that negate. The other main one we really like is El Shadal Winda. El Shadal Winda slows the game down, prevents special summoning, and oftentimes will cause the opponent to focus on it, which actually helps us, because then they're not paying attention to the other cards we actually do want to stick around, because they're so busy trying to get rid of this floodgate that is limiting their ability to keep special summoning. Then we got Mud Dragon, which actually is another one that does come up strangely often, because the ability to block targeting effects is still very good, even in today's game. It's not the end-all be-all. It's not as good as it used to be, but Mud Dragon being able to say, no, you can't target that, does come up. Now, remember earlier I mentioned a loop with Rise to Full Height? Well, here you have it. Psyframe Lord Omega is one of the monsters that we have that causes a loop. So basically, during the standby phase, this card puts a banished card back. So basically what you'll do is during the standby phase, you'll banish Rise to Full Height, target Omega. Omega will put it back. Then during the main phase, your opponent will do anything, and then Omega says, yeet, I'm out of here. And then basically your opponent doesn't get to swing, and you still have that Rise to Full Height for the next turn. And basically you can just keep doing this. I mean, it's not the end-all be-all, of course. We have more cards that can do things in the standby phase than we used to, but it's a move you can do. Michael, the Arc Lightsworn. Banishing a card is still decent. The only thing that sucks is that it targets, but, what are you going to do? The other cool thing that this card can do is you can give us back our life points. So basically, spin back all the Lightsworns, gain a bunch of life. It can come up. It can keep you in the game a little longer, as well as it's a name. That's important for Judgment Dragon. Time 3 Redoer is another card we have in here that combos with Rise to Full Height. It's another monster that can yeet off the field, causing our opponent to be frustrated because they can't swing at us. Again, they're like, I never get to attack. Yeah, that's the point. This deck should be called You Don't Get to Attack Lightsworn. But yeah, basically Time Thief Redoer is just yeeting off the field, as well as siphoning cards off of our opponent's deck slowly. So one of the really fun things is we can cause our opponent to deck out. That's another cool potential thing that could happen with this. Kind of a little payback for a certain Runic player. Story time for another day. Anyway, the cool thing is, if we take a spell on him, we get to draw a card or a trap card. I mean, literally all good effects. Even just getting off the field and chaining with Rise to Full Height is good for me. As well as, depending on what the monsters are that are put on him, if I have Thousand Blades and the Clown on him, well, then it's oh, look, now I get those 2 monsters to make another play next turn. Fantastic. Baguska, one of those necessary evils, I'm afraid. It's just, it's a floodgate. We gotta have a few of them in here. So, in certain decks, this card just cripples. And so, yeah, we play it too. Minerva! This card is the bomb, alright? We're talking destroying crap. We're talking drawing cards, milling. She's the bomb. I love Minerva. Also is a name. Very important. Abyss Dweller. It's for the mirror match. If we're up against another Tearalament player or Shadal player, we're sorry, we're making this. Your day is ruined. I'm sorry. Boral Sword Dragon, the cheap OTK. This card can get really big for no reason. So that's the big thing about him. Can't be destroyed in battle. That does come up sometimes. People forget that one, and then it's kind of fun to actually get to use this card, because I recently just picked up a copy of this card with this artwork. Yes, I'm a poor budget player. We got Nightmare Unicorn, spending stuff back. Nightmare Phoenix, nuking the back row. Again, we hate back row bitchery, so even though we kind of do play it a little bit, but most of our stuff gets milled, but that's just a conversation for another day. Then we got the Light Charmer and the Dark Charmer. These 2 cards are very necessary right now. The light one, because we have mostly light monsters. The dark one, because it's mostly meta relevant. We can take stuff from our opponent that has dark monsters. And that is pretty much the deck. The rest of this is kind of sideboard stuff. You don't really have to play any of this. This is just stuff I couldn't decide what I really wanted in the extra deck. So, like, all right, so we got a spell canceller in here. You remember the sideboard. You do not have to copy my sideboard. You should use your own brain when playing this deck. Use what works best for you, for what you think you will come across, whether if you're playing this for locals or you're just playing online with friends or whatever. Just, don't copy mine. I'm just going to tell you about it. Spell Canceller is because Runic is running around, and one of the things I have thought about, okay, is certain of my extra deck doesn't really work against certain matchups. So that's why I kind of said, okay, well, against certain things, it would be better for me to swap cards around and go for those for different extra deck plays. So if I'm up against, like, Runic, yeah, I'm going to throw in the third Galaxy and Mystic Mine. I'm going to throw in the Galaxy Cyclone, the Harpy Feather Duster. I'm going to throw in Curious, the Timeless, and I'm going to throw in the Spell Canceller. The goal is to get the Spell Canceller in the graveyard and bring it back. If I bring back the Spell Canceller from the graveyard successfully, then my opponent's deck is dead, and I'm free to just beat the snot out of them. And that's good enough for me. From that point, we're just, wreck and face. That is my goal if I find myself up against a Runic or Mystic Mind player. Like I said, the good news is if you're just against some type of random Runic deck, because you are playing 60 cards, you have more cushion than most decks have. So that's going to work out to your advantage. And then again, like against certain things, like if I side in the Super Polys, I'm going to change out the extra and put in like Starving Venom, because mostly that's going to be used against mostly dark decks. And then I got Utopia in case I need something that's a little quicker for OTKs instead of Moral Sword. And then, of course, for breaking boards, we got Dark Ruler no more. Well, that was just my logic, because here's the thing. My main deck has a lot of outs to things. I have Dino-Miscus, I have Galaxy Cyclone. I have outs main decked to certain matchups. Gambling that I'm not going to get screwed over by the mills, but it could happen. So, excuse me, that was my idea. It was to try to just have as much built into the main deck as possible. We already have board breaking, because with the graveyard is like a second hand almost, and going first is integral. If you go second with this deck, you're going to have a bad time. But that's how mill decks typically go. But if you do go second, you're not completely screwed, because Damage Juggler and Harvest do kind of mitigate that a little bit. But so your going second matchup is a little better than it used to be. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this deck profile. If you found this to your liking, make sure you leave a thumbs up and let me know what you thought in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Check out the replay footage if you guys want to see the deck in action. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.